It's safe to say Pokemon abilities changed the game in Gen 3, and there's been a make or break deal for many Pokemon since then. The one thing that has never been explored is ability evolutions. What if Morolol's ability Rain Dish caused it to evolve into a tiny squishy cutie? Or Combuskin with their speed boost ability turned it into a turbo chicken? Well, you're gonna have to have the ability to wait till the end of the video for those two. Unlike me with my ability to feed us. Oh, my weak knees. Anyway, make sure to comment below a Pokemon whose ability would work well for an ability evolution, and you may just see it in the next video. Alright, first we're going to begin with a real banger of a Pokemon, the Snorunt line, and their hidden ability Moody. What's got you so grumpy, happy, mad? I just don't know anymore, Snorunt. So I wanted to keep the general idea of the Snorunt line's ties to Japanese folklore, and I love the straw attire that Snorunt has, so I wanted to evolve them into a Namahage. They're sort of like Oni ogres that admonish children for being lazy. Nowadays they have to admonish children for using AI, oh no. If you've seen the Ghost Harag from Monster Hunter, another one of my favorite designs, this is their inspiration for that as well. For the Moody ability, I thought it'd be cool to have the idea of the Namahage masks in 3 different colors, red, green, and blue to show the different colors of Oni, and each face would have their own emotion. I think it'd be a cool detail that this Pokemon would face a trainer or enemy depending on which stat they boosted last turn with Moody. Red for attack stats, blue for defensive, and green for speed. I know I didn't show green here, the pose just felt too good to change it, but just imagine that the face is just a smiling, pretty content face, or doing almost a laughing, crying emoji face. Namagoro, the tri-faced Pokemon, an Ice and Dark type. Evolves from Snorunt with the Moody ability and exposed to an Ice Stone. Namagoro have 3 distinct faces that it will face towards their target depending on their mood. Blue for sadness, red for anger, and green for happy. It rarely shows its green face. They have large, strong arms hidden within their fur cloak, which they'll punch out of like a bullet into their foe. Namagoro has the ability Moody. On to another great design, it's Nickit. And for this one I chose its Unburden ability here, and it's gonna get a little weird. When I thought of Unburden, I thought of like a thief dropping all their stuff to escape, but also a daring thief gliding into a heist unburdened by much gear except for their glider. So I wanted to make, okay, here's the joke, a flying fox. Yeah, I'm pulling a Remoraid to Octillery here, I'm sorry. I wanted to move a tad away from the gentleman thief thing that Thievul does to be a little more of a wry looking thief. One that's cocky and would announce themselves as they glide in. Look out in his eye, the glider, yeah! And all the security guards look up in shock. I do wonder whether Thievul here would walk around on 2 or 4 legs, because these days Game Freak is much kinder to gliding Pokemon and don't let them just awkwardly float around like magic. But also, it would be funny if on all 4s they just had these large flaps covering most of their bodies. But also, that's a sneaky cloak for a thieving flying fox. Thievul, the flying fox Pokemon, a dark and flying type. Evolves from Nickit with the Unburden ability at level 20. Thievul pull off daring heists using their loose skin to glide in through windows and other openings in houses. They're quite smart and will even unlock doors to let in Nickit and Thievul to help in their escapades. If they're caught, Thievul will unleash a blast of air to propel them quickly into the sky for a daring escape. Thievul has the ability Unburden. How about we give non-trade evolution to Graveler? Blasphemy, I hear from you. But no, it now evolves with their Sandveil ability. Ooh, interesting. So if it doesn't get traded, it keeps the 4 arms that it once had that it gives to Machoke, and even takes on a bit of a monstrous look, much like how Golem has it. Okay, so if you don't know, I'm a big fan of Kingdom Hearts, and so as I was making this one, I wanted to reference a secret boss from the first game, name of Kurt Ziza. A heartless made by a fan of a competition. That's why his name is just Kurt. But the idea of this whirling dust devil Pokemon was too cool not to use. You'll see later on that I actually give it a G-Max Sandaconda-esque sandstorm instead of its legs, and I couldn't not for the life of me decide whether to use one or the other. So this would be like a secret thing where they'd, I guess, only have this sand tornado when in desert areas or during sandstorm weathers. That gives me an idea to make a bunch of weather-based evolutions for a video at some point. Maybe give me some ideas for them down in the comments too. Duststride, the Dust Devil Pokemon, a ground and rock type. Evolves from Graveler with the Sand Veil ability at level 37. Duststride live in deserts where they can freely move about in their dust storm form. They hunt by charging into enemies and sucking them into their tornado and flinging them into objects. Each of their 4 arms are capable of shattering boulders with ease. They will squabble with Golem by throwing them away when perturbed. Duststride has the ability Sand Veil. Shuppet is a big cutie, but what if instead of the cool Bayonet, it got a bit silly when it has the Frisk ability? Well, I'm here for no reason, don't mind me. I do love Muppets and puppets in general, they're just neat. So when I fought Frisk for an ability, I thought of like some funny little puppet boy using their ghostly heads to frisk an opponent for items, and just comically throwing them all away. So instead of a haunted doll, Frisky Haw, yes, that's its name, becomes a floating puppet, where a spectral hand now sits inside of the puppet hole. I wanted to keep all the classic Muppet stylings like the big colourful nose and eyes, and the tiny thin arms that flail around with it. And honestly, this one is super silly, but I can 100% imagine an anime episode where someone gets possessed by them after putting their hand in, and they talk through the puppet all of the darkest things. But really, it's just misunderstood and only wanted a friend, right? Right? Frisky Haw, the Hands Pokemon, a Ghost and Psychic type. Evolves from Shuppet with the Frisk ability at level 38. Frisky Haw are masters at mimicking voices of people and Pokemon. It uses this to mock enemies, distorting their voices then laughing at their embarrassment. Many have tried to put their hand into Frisky Haw to control them. None have lived long after doing this. Many Frisky Haw have gone on to join carnivals and theatre shows happily as entertainers. Frisky Haw has the ability Frisk. Let's continue the silliness with Snubble and a new evolution when they have the Rattled ability.
You made me look bad!
Unlike the staunch Granbull, having the Rattled ability turns them into a Chihuahua. And this is possibly the first ever Pokemon I've made that gets smaller when they evolve. I remember this one Chihuahua that was on my route when I would walk around my old neighborhood, that the moment it spotted me and my dog, it would just scream as if it was being attacked violently. The owner didn't care, he knew what was up. I hated it though, and you just know that Yapeti is just like that. Screaming at every possible inconvenience, which is everything anyway. This has a very specific energy to it, but like those old PS2 games with the super stylized graphics would have dogs looking very similar to this. But out of all of them, the dog from Guitar Man is very similar to Yapeti. Go play that game if you can, a real banger. Do it, or I'll unleash Yapeti into your home. It's a good rhythm game, come on please. Yapeti, the Yapper Pokemon, a fairy and normal type. Evolves from Snubble with the Rattled ability after activating it 30 times. Yapeti is small but powerful. Their voice carries far and can get destructively loud. It doesn't take much to set a Yapeti off even out of battle. Many fanatics swear by the cuteness of Yapeti and will intentionally scare their Snubbles to force evolution into this form. Yapeti has the ability Rattled. Alright, let's do Morlul and their Rain Dish ability. Morlul and Shiinotic are very creepy Pokemon, but Squish Room, I wanted to do the opposite way. Just being this tiny little cutie that people would love to have around them in forests. And when you read their dex entry, I'm sure some other sorts of people would also love to have them around. They have sort of Toad energy from Mario, but also feeling like gnomes and Fae in general, even if they lose their fairy typing, and based off concave mushrooms that pick up water when it rains. Of course, with all that water, they've gotten a little squishy with it, and would probably be incredibly wet to the touch, possibly a bit gross feeling, really. One thing I noticed while doing this design is how low the Morel's line stats are. Like, they don't seem to be very good, especially when the other god of mushroom Pokemon Among Us is up here like a Chad. Oh, we all wish we could be them. My shiny Shiinotic is crying right now. Squishroom, the moist Pokemon, a grass and water type. Evolves from Morelol with the Rain Dish ability at level 23 during rain. Squishroom are friendly Pokemon that congregate in rainy forests where they absorb water and become plump and squishy. The water that leaks from them have slight hallucinogenic properties, but they'll always help dehydrated people and Pokemon, even if there are some side effects. Squishroom has the ability Rain Dish. And finally, the Kickin' Chicken themselves, Combuskin. We're taking the kickin' part away with that speed boost ability though. With this new ability, we're pulling a bit of a turbo here and making them much more traditional chicken shape, and even incorporating a bit of a race car motif into them. No, they aren't turning into a snail. Based on large roosters, they have a big blazing mane, similar to how roosters have those big feathery necks. But most of all, the best part of this design are the tail feathers, made to look like a race car's exhaust engine. As they run faster, more fire would blast out of them. This definitely has a big difference between good old Blaziken, so I think it works well as a sort of side grade to them, especially as it ditches the fighting type for the steel type. A hardy fast chicken or a flurry of fire chicken, it's up to you. Personally, I think I want my fiery chicken Kentucky Fried. Blitzen, the Strider Pokemon, a steel and fire type. Evolves from Combuskin with a speed boost ability while holding a metal coat. Blitzen have tails that are constantly ablaze. The faster they run, the more aggressive the flames flicker out. As they run, they fire off blasts of flames and send waves of burnout flames at foes. Once the foe is surrounded, they begin to roast them from the ring of fire Blitzen creates. Blitzen has the ability Speed Boost. And so this is the first batch of ability evolutions I have today. What does your keen eye think? Have some anticipation, I'll do more. And those with cute charms should like, comment, and subscribe. Hype the video and share this video around. Alright, that's enough ability puns I can come up with. Time to emergency exit away.
You see, petting the dog is one of the most relaxing things you can possibly do.